Now, we are witnessing what appears to be similar manipulation and deceit with respect to a new commission of inquiry that has been established by the government of Sri Lanka in an effort to deflect criticism and to claim that real efforts are being made to address claims of war crimes and other human rights violations in the final stages of the war with the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. Perhaps the best way to convey the state of affairs is to reproduce the following assessment, which was released 1 month ago by the Office of War Crimes Issues of the U.S. Department of State. It narrates the evolution of two purportedly independent investigative bodies set up by Sri Lanka in response to the U.S. Department of State's earlier report last October 2009. A report that listed over 300 reports of incidents in the final months of the war that merited investigation for possible war crimes and crimes against humanity. No conclusions were drawn in the U.S. State Department report of October 2009, simply the fact that there was much reporting and evidence that needed to be investigated. And here's the abstract, the extract. And bear with me, the method of my madness here is I want you to see how a diplomatically yet still principally written document attempts to convey what's really going on, okay? So this is, again, Department of State reporting to Congress. Americans talking to Americans, but in a highly diplomatic context. Quote, until I say unquote, it's all a quote. Immediately following the release of the October 2009 Department of State report to Congress, Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa appointed a quote-unquote group of eminent persons, I'm still within the broader quote, to look into the allegations in the U.S. report and prepare a report for him with its recommendations. The group's report was initially due to President Rajapaksa on December 31st, 2009, but the due date was subsequently delayed to April 2010, and then again to July 2010. The Department of State concludes that the group of eminent persons was ineffective. The Department of State received conflicting reports about the progress of the group's inquiry and confirmed in May that it had not been active for months and that its mandate had been subsumed by a new commission. The Department of State is not aware of any findings or reports of the group. The group did not appear to investigate allegations or to make any recommendations pursuant to its mandate. On May 15th, so only 3 or 4 months ago, 2010, President Rajapaksa issued a warrant to establish an 8-member commission under the Special Presidential Commissions of Inquiry Law of 1978, so a proper commission of inquiry. The warrant did not explicitly direct the Commission to identify violations of internationally accepted norms in conflict situations or to identify those responsible. Since then, the government of Sri Lanka has clarified the mandate of this Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, LLRC, that's what it's called, has clarified the mandate of the LRC in private conversations with U.S. government officials, although it has not yet done so publicly. This was written on August 11th, so a month ago. On June 10th, the Sri Lankan Ministry of Defense announced that President Rajapaksa had met with the members of the Commission on Lessons Learned and Reconciliation on June 4th. The ministry's announcement said that the President had informed Commission members that they had, internal quote, the responsibility of acting in a forward-looking manner while always safeguarding the dignity of Sri Lanka. End of internal quote. Evaluating the effectiveness of the Commission of Inquiry should first take into account the history of failings of a series of past commissions of inquiries established in Sri Lanka. This is the U.S. Department of State talking, keep in mind. For example, in 2006, an international independent group of eminent persons, that's what I already mentioned to you in the earlier narrative, was especially critical concerning a severe conflict of interest by the Attorney General's office, which both represented the government of Sri Lanka and led questioning during hearings. The then incumbent Attorney General, this is the sinister plot Attorney General, who in that capacity was criticized for obstructing the IIGEP's work, has been appointed as chairman of the new LLRC, unquote. So these passages with my little ad-libbing now and again speak for themselves in terms of illustrating the prospects for the LRC acting as a bona fide commission of inquiry. And in the last, I've got about 1 minute left. South Africa's Bishop Desmond Tutu had already drawn this conclusion 2 weeks before the release of the Department of State report when he said, quote, "The government of Sri Lanka needs to show a much greater commitment to achieving meaningful reconciliation. The ongoing persecution and disappearances of human rights activists, journalists, and government opponents is truly terrifying. Unfortunately, previous internal commissions have done little to reveal the truth behind human rights abuses. It is doubtful that the President's Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission will help Sri Lankans to work towards lasting peace and reconciliation," unquote. And all of you will know Bishop Desmond Tutu, but he's also the chairperson of the elders. Now, in terms of the document, with the Commissions of Inquiry example having set the scene, the overall rule of law situation in Sri Lanka is organized around a discussion of the six themes identified by Basil Fernando as lying at the heart of the current situation of abysmal lawlessness in Sri Lanka. I'm simply going to read out those 6 topics so you get a sense. In the discussion period, I can elaborate under any one of those and give clear examples of what's happening, etc. But I don't want to preempt some of what my colleagues might already be talking about. So the 6 themes are the lost meaning of legality, number 1. Second one, predominance of the security apparatus. Number 3, disappearance of truth through propaganda. Number 4, extraordinary concentration of power in the hands of the executive president. Number 5, destroyed public institutions. Number 6, what he calls the zero status of citizens. And I'll leave it there, having just reached my limit. But again, I can flesh out all of those themes with examples if and when the discussion goes in that direction. Thank you.